a dark one. All right, I'm published on YouTube. I was just making sure I was going live before I got any actual content out. Um, so let me start audio. Motherfucker, I always do that. Okay, so this one is kind of serious, and I'm sorry for that in advance. Some legit stuff went down over the last few hours. I got a call last night from one of my buddies, Rob, who we've recorded, and Rob, I love you, buddy, but he's just a little too drunk for me to post what we talked about. So, Rob came by and gave his thoughts on what had happened at the bar. He got a call down the. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm telling you this story like you know all of the people that I'm talking about. Sorry, let me back up for a second. So, my buddy Rob, who is a bar back at Bubba's Love Shack, and he also works at Dead Dog, I think. And these are all restaurants and bars that are on the Marsh Walk that is literally just a couple of blocks from my house. And I used to manage this bar called Uncle Tito's that I've told all of you guys about. And most of the people here, most of the listeners so far are still listening on a local level. So a lot of my listeners will get a lot of these references. But for those of you who don't, I know I got a couple of new listeners from the West Coast area through the Small Beans people. Shout out Small Beans people. Anyway, this little strip of bars is very similar to, I don't know, like a Key West, or I've never been to New Orleans. I would imagine that it's just bar after bar after bar. These are restaurant bars, and it's not like you got like a biker bar, thing going on. It's like these are family restaurants that have a bar area, and even on the Welcome to Murrells Inlet sign, it's a drinking village with a fishing problem. Like, people love to drink in Murrells Inlet, and that's no secret. So this strip of restaurants is on the waterfront there in Murrells Inlet here. And across the street from Murrells Inlet, there's this bar called Crooked Floor and this bar called Uncle Tito's that I used to manage years ago. And so Tito's and Crooked Floor is where people go when they leave Bubba's and Dead Dog and Wicked Tuna and all of the other places. Like when the bars that when the more family oriented restaurants close and the bars attached to those family oriented restaurants close, the staff and everybody who's left has already been drinking all day and that's already gotten their fill across the street ends up stumbling across to Uncle Tito's, which is basically your service industry bar, and Crooked Floor is also the same way. But also, by the way, I keep noticing the camera angle switching. Noah Byrne may or may not be coming. I haven't heard from him yet. I've set up for him either way, whether he does or not. I'm not sure, or maybe he's thinking he's going to call in, but I'm not sure. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But last night, and it was a full moon when we did the Sweet episode with we did a Sweet episode in the full moon that was probably when was that? The last Sunday, a week ago today. And this full moon just felt like it drug on all week long. Like it was waiting, like just boiling point. It was just reaching a boiling point, just growing in temperature every single day until it exploded last night with a huge, I'm not saying a huge fight, but obviously the ending is huge. There was a large fight that occurred at Uncle Tito's, and in this fight, an off-duty police officer from the state of Connecticut stepped in and tried to offer help to break up this fight. And from what I heard from the bartender Hawkins, very good friend of mine, texted me last night. He was there till about 5 a.m, and he said that the cop was a good guy. He said, I'm sorry, I'm getting messages. Alexa, not the kind that you tell things in your house. But anyway, said the guy was nice. He had conversations with him, and that the dude was literally just trying to help. So the dude goes and tries to help break up this fight. Ends up, I'm not sure if he got sucker punched or what happened. But the dude trying to break up the fight ends up getting hit and gets knocked out. And unfortunately, the poor guy never wakes up. And it's a damn shame. I was talking, I got a message from my neighbor Nicole, and her and Chris are the ones that gave me this chop on towel from the SunTrust Park. But she texted me, and apparently she was administering CPR to the guy because nobody there knew how, and there was apparently just a group of people who were afraid to call the cops, or I'm assuming because they were, who knows, when you're drunk and you're young, a lot of these things you're afraid to get the authorities involved in these situations because you're not sure how it's going to be handled. And I have been in that situation before. But when there's somebody passed out, like laying on the floor, and this happened a couple weeks ago to one of my buddies, one of my very good friends, somebody who I won't name, but has been on this podcast before, that ended up getting hit and hitting the ground and just hitting the ground pretty hard. And I'm like, I shudder to think that if it were somebody that close to me who ended up getting punched and just got knocked out, and then whenever they hit the ground, if he hit like a rock or something, this was outside where we have like a gravel parking lot. So I mean, if he hit like a hard rock or something like that, then that's just, that's it. There ain't nothing else. There ain't nothing else for you after that, and that's a damn shame. And the thing I hate the most about it is that I wasn't there. I wasn't there. Because if I were there, that guy would have had no need to step in to break up that fight. That used to be what I did. I used to do that at Tito's, and I was the one who kept everything on an even keel, if you will. I kept everything I don't know, kosher. I tried to make sure that everybody had a good time, but that nobody got out of hand. And I hate the fact that I wasn't there, so that maybe this wouldn't have happened and this guy would still be alive. And the dude's a good guy, obviously, he was a cop, and I say undercover, I meant off duty. He was an off duty cop from Connecticut. And I hate that this happened to anybody, anywhere, but I specifically hate that it happened in this inlet at that bar. I love that bar, and I always have. I raised that bar from a pup, and I don't really know what to think. I don't know what to do. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what Murrells Inlet's going to do. Let me see if I can pull up the article here. There was an article. Let's see, WNBF News. Yeah, let me pull this up. No, I don't want to open up Facebook. No. All right, let me just read this. Read this to you. This guy, 21 years old. I'm going to just read this article. This shouldn't take too long. A man is still behind bars Sunday after an altercation inside a Merle's Inlet bar turned deadly. Kelton Todd, wow, his name's very close to mine. 3 letters off. Kelton Todd, 21 of Aner, is charged with assault of a high and aggravated nature following the incident. According to Georgetown County Sheriff's, Todd sucker punched Sergeant Matthew Manieri, 41, an off-duty police officer from South Windsor, Connecticut, around 12:30 a.m. during an altercation outside of Uncle Tito's in Merle's Inlet. Sergeant Manieri died as a result of his injuries shortly after 3 p.m. Sunday, according to GCSO. According to the South Windsor Police Department Facebook page, Sergeant Manieri was an 18-year-old member of the department and served as a traffic investigator, reconstructionist, and criminal investigator. Hold on a second. Sergeant Manieri was an 18. Oh, 18. Okay, I'm sorry. 18-year. I was reading 18-year-old for some reason. Sergeant Manieri, 18-year member of the department, and served as a traffic investigator, reconstructionist, and criminal investigator. It is with profound sadness that the members of South Windsor Police Department mourn the death of Sergeant Matthew Manieri, said South Windsor Deputy Chief Scott P. Custer in a statement. Excuse me. Police Sergeant Matthew Manieri, number 155, died this afternoon of injuries sustained in an off-duty incident in South Carolina last night while trying to break up a fight. Updated charged in the case are currently pending. So, man, this is awful. I'm looking at pictures of this kid and just, this is just awful, man. Right here at home, right here under my doorstep. Well, I mean, I say this a lot, but when is enough with people? Why does this have to... Why is it violence? Why is that always the answer? Why on earth? This kid's 21 years old. Kelton Todd. Excuse me. This kid's 21 years old, and surely he hasn't learned the ways of the Jedi, so to speak, so far. But you would think that he would know, that this was something that you don't do. Like, I guess some people come from a different kind of upbringing than I do, to where I don't know, violence is just not a way to solve anything, nor will it ever be. And hopefully this situation, and I'm do not think that I'm taking anything away from Sergeant Manieri at all, who, from what I heard from the bartender who was working, said the guy was a good dude, that he had carried on conversations with him, that everything that he did with the best of intentions of, honestly, pretty much doing it as a service to the bartender, so the bartender didn't have to come from behind the bar and do it. And there is a door guy, by the way, from what I was told, and I don't drink anymore, so I don't really go down there on nights when it's busy. Like, as soon as people start piling in, that's my cue to leave. And everybody who goes to Tito's will tell you that. Every time somebody, like a group of people shows up, they walk in, people that I don't know, I look at the bartender or whoever I'm talking to, and I'm like, that's my cue to leave. Like, I don't drink. I don't even drink the non-alcoholic beers anymore. It's just unnecessary calories. So, I mean, I don't have anything to keep me there anymore at all. I mean, other than the people. And then once the people show up and the status quo of the room changes, then I'm no longer interested in being a part of it. So I didn't know they had a door guy, but apparently there was a door guy there, and I assumed that this all went down so fast that that there wasn't enough time to react. But either way, the fact remains that we had a 21-year-old kid last night come into our little shithole bar in Merle's Inlet, and it's a little shithole bar, and there's a little crew of people that we've always had. Like, it is a great strong group of regulars, and there's always been just, I don't know how to describe it. Tito's is a very eclectic regulars crowd, and everybody is accepted of all walks of life. No matter what you do, there are people. I swear to God, there have been people in Tito's sitting right next to a guy. There have been a guy who has a watch on his wrist that is more expensive than the entire worth of the person that they're sitting next to. But they'll still take shots together and walk outside and smoke cigarettes together and just go their different ways in life. And this is the God's honest truth about this place. It's just so accepting of damn near any walk of life. And these kids, and I say these kids, he's 21. These kids come in from wherever they come from, and they get fucking hammered, and they haven't been doing it for very long, and they're not good at it yet. And they just think that, oh, this is what a man does. A man is supposed to fight if somebody gets in his shit, or if somebody disagrees with him, or somebody has words with him. A man's supposed to fight, and that's fucking dumb. I'm sorry, it's fucking stupid. A man doesn't do that. A man solves the fucking problems with his mind. A man figures out ways to deal with situations that don't involve violence. A man figures out a way to outsmart the people that are trying to disturb his mental peace, or whatever you want to fucking say about it. That's what a man does. A man outsmarts his enemy. Fighting an enemy, fighting somebody is the dumbest fucking thing that a man can do. That is not a man that just wants to fight as soon as a disagreement occurs. That's a fucking child. That is a child's response to something that a man would do differently. You want to hurt somebody? You want to fucking hurt them? Hurt them in their mind. You know what? An ass whooping hurts, but for how long? Day? 2 if it's a rough one? You fucking whip somebody's mind, that ass whooping stays there. I'm pretty sure I said that before on this podcast. Either way, when in this world are we going to get to a point to where grown people can have disagreements and not fucking beat the shit out of each other because of these disagreements? And the irony of the entire situation is that the two idiots who were fighting are okay. And the cop who was trying to do the good deed and break up this fight is the one who's suffering from all this. And as I was saying earlier, I don't want to take anything away from Sergeant Matthew Maneri, and I'm going to say his name and give him the honor that he deserves. But this has to be, it's already a horrible situation. It's been done. There's nothing that we can do to undo it, and that breaks my heart as a resident of Merle's Inlet, and fuck, man, Tito's was my bar and Jimmy and Stoney have always owned Tito's, but Tito's was always my bar. It was, I was there every day. I spent the most hours inside that building. I raised it from a pup, like I said earlier. I truly did. I raised that bar from when nobody was going in there, and I was the only bartender and we were closed on Sundays, and I would still end up opening on Sunday nights and do private parties every Sunday night with all just the random bartenders, the service industry people. I used to do that all the time, and I was the core of that bar, and it was the core of me for a very long time. and was most of the reason why I drank so excessively for all those years. And you know what? As shitty as I was during those times and the things that I did, I wouldn't trade any of it for a second because of all the things that I learned about myself, about the service industry, about people, I would say, because you learn a lot about people in a bar. What is it, Seth Scalara? What is it? Oh shit. Jack Nicholson in The Departed. Oh, oh, restaurants. He said, I've always owned restaurants. He said, you learn a lot by watching people eat. And that's a really, really interesting way to say you learn a lot by watching people just do things that they do normally. You learn a lot by watching people drink and interact with each other. And I learned a lot more after I went sober and started and continued to go back to the bar. I learned a fuckload about people and what they do and how they do it and why they do it just by being in that bar every single day for however many years that was. And it was definitely more than a year and a few months when I was the only bartender at all. And then I would have other people come in and work, but I would still be at the bar, you know. I would still be in there every single day just making sure. And when we hired enough bartenders to where I didn't have to bartend anymore, I was still there every single day and making sure that nothing fucked up happened. And I was involved in a lot of shit back then and in a few altercations. And I would always say, listen, I would rather it be me in these altercations than somebody else. Because I know all of these people. If an officer responds to something happening at Uncle Tito's, I'm going to know who they are. They're going to know who I am. I'm going to tell them what happened. And everybody's going to be fine. Nobody's going to go to jail. We handle this shit like men. If somebody wants to push, if somebody wants to come after me or whatever, which has happened a few times at Tito's, what I'm going to do is grab these people and not allow them to fucking move. And I don't know if you're not watching YouTube or if you can fucking tell, I'm not a small person. Usually if I get a hold of somebody, they're not fucking going anywhere. And I don't care who they are, how big they are. It doesn't fucking matter. They're not moving. And this is the sort of thing that needs to happen. A bouncer needs to be a bouncer. A bouncer needs to take a situation and remove the danger from the situation. Another thing that it takes is being able to spot these things before they happen. After you spend enough time in a bar, you'll notice that certain people will do certain things that make you think that, okay, something's going to go bad here in a second. Something's about to go sour. And when you start noticing shit like that, you need to pay closer attention. And I guess this is me. If anybody's out there in the service industry or whatever, and they're trying to find out, or not trying to find out, but just trying to make sure or see to it that this kind of thing doesn't happen in your place of business or wherever you are, just try to keep it a little bit of a heightened awareness about you when you're around a shitload of people drinking, especially on Labor Day weekend. And I didn't even think of that yet. It's Labor Day weekend, so I mean, people are going at it a little harder than normal. This full moon that happened last week has got people all upside down. Mercury retrograde is ripping through what? I can think of all the things that I try to blame it on, but I know that the truth is just that these people who get involved in these situations are just uneducated, ignorant people who get involved in fights rather than getting involved in conversations. Like, you can solve so much more by talking to somebody than fighting them. What's fighting going to do? Fighting is going to create a winner and a loser. If there's a conversation had, there's no loser. There are two winners. Think about this. If you have a conversation with somebody after a disagreement, both of these people are going to walk away from that smarter than they began that conversation. And I'll tell you why. The person who is speaking their mind and saying, I believe things are this way, and this other person who says, no, I would disagree with you, I think they're going this way, these two people have a conversation about that. At the end, they could still disagree. But would you not say that that made them a stronger person by realizing, oh, well, I just disagreed with that person, and that's okay because I had my opinion and they had theirs, and that's fine. We still disagree, but now everything's fine, and now you're a better person because of that. That's how friends are created. Friends are created through disagreements that you have with people that you don't mind those disagreements because you enjoy that person's company. That's I mean that's the whole that's this whole thing, life. That's this whole thing that we're doing, right? We're just trying to get through this. We're just trying to get through this situation. We're trying to get through this trip around the sun on this fucking rock with everybody else on it, and we're trying not to create too much of a disruption. Shouldn't that be our goal? Should that not be our goal with everything? To just try to go through life as much as you can and not create as many. I mean, I'm not saying not create as many ripples in like a good way. Obviously, you want to put good out into the world, but how do people leave their house and go out into the world with the option in their mind that, oh, well, if somebody disagrees with me or if somebody says something to me, I'm just gonna fuck them up? Is that not just hearing me say that? Did that not sound like an ignorant statement? Am I the only one that heard that? I can't wrap my fucking mind around why anybody would choose violence over intelligence. That's such an ignorant thing to fucking do. And I'm not calling whoever did this stupid, whoever was in this fight stupid. It could have been one stupid person and one other person who is very prideful. And I get that. Maybe one stupid person who starts a fight and the other person's like, well, fuck this. I'm not going to just let you do that. And then all of a sudden somebody comes out of the crowd and says, I know what's right. I know what should be done. And then this fucking happens. Then he gets sucker punched by some fucking idiot. I'm sorry, idiot 21-year-old. And this is just, I make sure that, yeah, he sucker punched in the article. That's another shitty thing. Like, you don't sucker punch people. That's not what a man does. That's what a pussy does. I'm sorry. I apologize if somebody gets offended that I use that word in a negative term to describe a dude, but I'm sorry. That's just what that's what a pussy does. That's just a bitch move. That is not what men do, young man. And he's going to have a very long time in prison to think about what a man does. And hopefully, somewhere along the way, this kid will realize that that's just not a good way to live your life. And I'm sure that he was not thinking that he was going to kill somebody when he went to hit that dude. But you know what? Maybe a village full of people who have witnessed this situation occur and have seen this bullshit go down will know that this is no longer the way to go about doing things. And if they don't get that, then I don't know. I can't help them. If they don't want to understand, if they don't want to understand that people are living, breathing creations that deserve the benefit of the doubt more often than not, then obviously those people are not listening to this podcast. But I wish they would. I wish that everybody would. And even if they don't, for those of you who do listen to this, put that out into the world, will you? Put that out into the world. Put the understanding that we're all in this together. I was on the radio with Scott Mann the other day with the Scott Mann episode you guys heard on, was it Wednesday? Yes. On Wednesday, the Scott Mann episode, on the radio, he gave me, and by the way, it was always one of my dreams to be on the radio. Like, I've always been obsessed with the radio. My dad told me that, Dwight Johnson at WBSC in Bennettsville, South Carolina, needed some help at the radio. And I was like, man, I'd love to be on the radio. And he was trying to get me to go, and I chickened out at the last minute, I think, and ended up not going. But I got to sit on the radio with Scott for a bit after we did the podcast, and the thing that we went back and forth for about an hour and a half or so, just in little couple minute increments on the radio in between songs, and he put the ball in my court when I was just about to leave, and he said, "So what do you want to say to the people?" Like, and he didn't say that. He said it much more eloquently than the people. And I don't think of you as the people, by the way, but you're the people. He said, "What do you want to say to the listeners in leaving?" And I was like, "We're all gonna make it. We're all gonna make it. We're all in this thing together." And we're all going to be fine. There's going to be some bad things that happen along the way, but you know what? Overall, we're going to make it. We're going to be fine. And that's basically my MO in life, is to let people know that we're going to make it. We're going to be fine. There's going to be shit situations that occur that cause us to not want to be part of this ride anymore. And we're going to be in situations to where we are not going to be catered to like we want to be or think we deserve, or situations aren't going to occur like we think they should, and all of these different things that are going to come into play. But we're all going to make it to the end, minus the people who decide to check out before their time, which I've committed to seeing this thing through to the end on someone else's terms, not mine. I'd rather it be another person's decision, and person, being, universe, whatever you want to call it, nature, my internal clock, whatever you want to call that being. Whenever it comes time for that second hand to strike the last second, I'm not going to be the one who makes the decision that my time is up. I would rather that be in something else's hands, if that makes any sense. I totally went way off on that, but my main point in this, and this is I'm coming to a close here. People have the capacity to be good. Every person possesses the ability to do good things and do the right thing, and I am the prime example of that. There are times when we are in the middle of a gig and I'll be holding the tempo, and Smitty will start to speed up a little bit, and I have this feeling of just play on time. And I'm sorry, Smitty, I love you, but I just have this rage, I guess I'll call it. It's just like that when I remember when my granddad used to yell at me for speeding up or slowing down, and I feel that in me. And I used to lean over every single time and be like, "You speeding up, slow down," on stage. And that doesn't do anything for anybody. That doesn't do anything for anybody. That does not help the band. That doesn't look good from the crowd. It doesn't. That doesn't help. Like, having a disagreement like that on stage doesn't help. Sometimes they slip out because I can't help myself, because that's who I am. But I am living proof that people have the capacity to do good things and to say good things, or to just not say bad things, or just to not act on the things that you want to act on. Because 9 times out of 10, after the situation's over, you're not going to give a shit about why you felt that way. You're just going to be sitting there like, "Oh, fuck, I shouldn't have done that." When if you would just have let it simmer, let it wait out for a little bit, it's probably not something that needs to be talked about. If it's something that needs to be brought up, then after, and I'm still in the same analogy, and I apologize, but after a gig, I'll be like, "Hey man, I noticed this, just didn't want to say anything in front of people because I don't want to be a dick, but just be mindful of this." And I am the world's worst when it comes to saying exactly what's on my mind and saying and with no filter. And I'm still that same person, but I have altered what I will allow myself to say and think in a drastic way. And I encourage all of you to do the same thing. So, I don't have a whole lot. I don't think I have anything else for you. I just wanted to give my take on this thing and this awful story. This kid who's 21 years old has an entire life ahead of him that he's not going to get to live to its full extent because he's going to be in prison because of a stupid decision made drunk at a bar. And a great man who was trying to, and I say a great man, I don't know the guy's life. He could have been a shithole. I don't know. I really don't know. But the point of the matter is that he was a great man from everything that I know about him. That my friend who I trust said that he had conversations with the guy and that he was a good dude and that he comes down every couple of months or whatever, and that he was a regular at the bar when he came to town, and he felt it upon himself to do something about this situation. And this is how he was repaid, and that is just a fucking sad fact. I'm sorry to be a bummer in this one, guys. I don't really know what to think. This could have been anybody. This could have been one of my friends, somebody that I spend time with, and somebody that I love. I feel awful. You guys heard a text message come across the screen a while ago. I was talking to my guest who remained unnamed, old Johnny Ray Rusty Blackhawk, text me and was, I feel very sad for the family of this officer, and this is just not good for the inlet. It's not good for humanity. I know I made a big jump there between the inlet and humanity, but it's not good for anyone in between either. This is not a situation. I don't want to live in a world where violence is the answer. Or rather, violence is an option. I don't want to be a part of that world, and I wish that it would vanquish itself. I know that it won't, and I know that there will always be violence, and there will always be people manipulating power in an evil way, and that's sad, man. I got a brand new niece who's less than a month old, and I don't want her to grow up in this world of violence and evil and anger. It's just horrible. My young nephew AJ, who's gonna be a man before the next time I turn around, he's gonna be grown, and I don't want him to fear going out into the world because you never know when you're going to be met with some sort of violence. And that's just no way to live. That's no way to live. Anyway, sorry to be such a bummer about this situation. But I have to give my opinion on this. I feel it my journalistic responsibility to do so, and I having many conversations with Noah. I wonder what happened to Noah. Shit, I'm sorry. That's how this situation works. Sorry, Noah. I hadn't even thought about it. I've been thinking about this situation, but now I lost my train of thought. Me and Noah were talking. Oh yeah, me and Noah talk all the time. And whenever Las Vegas shooting happened, the Sunset Grill covered that as it unfolded day by day, and we were doing some research and we were really digging. And Noah brought up the fact that we were journalists, like we were covering the news, like we felt a responsibility since we had the Sunset Grill podcast to cover the news. And I'm not sure that I was doing this podcast at that time. I think that this was still a sports cast then that I really wasn't doing much with, but when that shit went down, things changed in my life because I felt the responsibility to share news with the world, to let people know what's going on and what I think about what's going on rather. So I guess that's what I'm doing now, is just letting you guys know what I think about this situation. So in short, in a closing thought, if I could leave one thought with you, I guess I would just say, make the choice to be a good person. You have every opportunity. You have the choice every single time to be a good person. Sometimes it's hard to make that decision. I understand. Sorry, I got the hiccups from a turkey burger. You have the opportunity more times than not to do the right thing. If your brain is so hell-bent on combat and answering things with violence or in a combative way, then just look closely at yourself and make sure that you give the other person in this altercation every benefit of the doubt that they deserve before you make a decision that could alter your life forever. Young Kelton Todd, 21 of Aner, charged with assault and is going to probably spend a lot of years in prison because he acted out of impulse and sucker punched somebody who was doing the right thing and now is no longer part of this earth. That's just sad. I'm sorry. I got to get out of here before I go down another rabbit hole of disappointment in my own mind. But seriously, guys, do the right thing. You know what the right thing is. It's usually the thing that you don't want to do. Do the right thing. Make that choice. Please. If you don't do it for anybody else, do it for yourself. Make the right choice for yourself. Look like a bitch in front of a lot of people because you don't want to fight somebody because they're being an idiot. Look like a bitch to another person because you know why? This is now an option. This is now a possible outcome. Nobody wants that. All right, guys. So I haven't been giving you anything to watch or listen to lately, so I'm going to try to pull something together real quick. There is a band, I think they're called the Dead Sarahs. My sister's name's Sarah. She is alive. Thank the Lord. Dead Sarah. Yeah, let's see. There's a band called Dead Sarah, and they are pretty fucking sick. Let me see. I would say listen to their self-titled album, Dead Sarah 2012. It came out, so listen to that album. I downloaded Eminem's new album last night, Kamikaze, and listened to it. I can't tell whether he is making fun of the mumble rap stuff or if he's trying to cash in on that what's the word I'm looking for? I just can't tell if he's trying to just cash in on this new fad that's going around with the mumble rap stuff, because he didn't really do any mumble rap things, but he's talking about a cadence that he doesn't exactly agree with in one of the songs, and like just a method of rapping just so choppy and whatnot, and started rapping like that. And I guess he's kind of making fun of it, but I enjoyed it. I was talking to Alexa last night. I know she doesn't like it. I'm sorry, Alexa, but I didn't mind it. I hadn't decided whether or not I liked it when I heard it the first time, but listening to it second time through, I kind of got it. It was like, he really is one of the greatest rappers of all time. And it's nice to see him flex his muscles again after however many years it's been since he dropped an album. I was I was pleased with it. So there's that. Listen to Dead Sarah. Listen to Eminem's new album. Whether you want to, are you into it or not, I give everything a chance. I would say just give everything a chance before you just write it off. So listen to that. Listen to those two things. What can you watch? I don't know. I'll think of something else for you to watch later. We'll come up with something better than that. Anyway, I'm gonna get the fuck out of here, guys. I really appreciate you listening. Go to our Discord channel through our Facebook page, My Stuff Facebook. Like the Facebook page, get involved in the updates, join the Discord channel, find out what's going on behind the scenes, find out who's going to be on. Got Sweet on next week on the 9th. They're going to be here. We're going to go live on that one probably around the same time as we did on this one. I think they get done at 9-ish at Hot Fish Club, and they're going to come by here. I think we're going to start around 10:30, 11-ish. So be excited for that. Wednesday, I've got a gig somewhere at Garden City Pier, so I will probably be coming at you a little earlier Wednesday. If not, it'll be super late Wednesday night at around midnight or a little later. But either way, we'll be getting another episode out Wednesday. Oh, shit. Tomorrow at 7 o'clock, we'll be going live for the fantasy football draft at Uncle Tito's. That the venue is subject to change for obvious reasons, but we're going to be going live we'll be going live probably around 6:45. And, oh shit, I just realized. We'll be going live around 6:45, and, yeah, so just stay tuned. It'll be myself, Wes Standish, who's been on the podcast before. Jimmy will probably be there. Jimmy Fuger, been on the podcast. Adam and Jason, who's done sports talks with me, they're going to be there. Little Jacob Clark's going to be there, from what I understand. Repack will be there. You guys have heard a lot of us talk about Repack. You'll finally get to meet Repack. Who else is going to be there? Who else is in our league? I know I'm missing important people. Dylan may be there. Dylan and JP won't be there. But anyway, there's a lot of people that you don't know, but you're going to meet them all. You're going to meet everybody. So anyway, I'm going to get the fuck out of here before I bore you anymore. Thank you guys so much for listening. Please subscribe to our iTunes. Leave us reviews. Let us know what you think. Yeah, that's it. Leave a review so that I know you're listening. Show me you're listening by leaving a review. And I appreciate that in advance. All right. Love you. Mean it. Peace, bitches. Hey, guys. How you living? Are you doing well? Good. So glad to hear that. This episode was a doozy. I go on a couple of really good rants about people not doing something right. And you know how I am about things being done right. So that should be no secret at this point. There was an altercation at Uncle Tito's, which is the bar that I managed for years, and it resulted in an off-duty officer. I think I said undercover officer in the beginning of the episode. I meant off-duty. Off-duty officer who was trying to break up a fight, ended up getting sucker punched and knocked out and never woke up. The guy passed away. This was at about midnight and a half last night, and he passed away at about 3 p.m. today. So, yeah, it was an awful, awful shame that this thing happened. And I pretty much just break down why I feel something like this occurred and gave. Honestly, I didn't really give any. I'm not. Dude, to be honest with you, I'm delirious. This is a big situation. This is a place that I poured my heart and soul for years, and something awful happened there, and I really don't know how to feel about it. I don't know what to think about it, but you guys are very soon to find out the answer to all of those questions. And my phone's dying, so I'm going to get to the end of this so that I can get the YouTube video rounded off before we get out of here. So, before you get to the content, I invite you to go to our Facebook page, find our Discord channel, like our Facebook page first, find our Discord channel, join the conversation, accept the invite, find out what's going on behind the scenes with that. There's a Sunset Grill option. Also, go to Sunset Grill. Go to Sunset Grill on the Facebook and like Sunset Grill as well, so that you'll get updates on the other podcasts that I'm doing. I may do another episode of Sunset Grill tonight if Brother Nora either calls in or comes through. But either way, do that. Leave reviews on iTunes and Podomatic. Please leave reviews so that I know that you're listening. Like, let me know through your reviews what you guys seriously think, and so that anybody who wants to listen in the future will have a little bit of a basis of what this thing's about that doesn't come from me. Also, stay tuned. Tomorrow night around the 6:45 hour, we'll be going live from Uncle Tito's for the fantasy football draft. Check that shit out. Going to have another episode for you on Wednesday, and Sweet Sweets coming this Sunday, the 9th. So be excited about that. Jeremy and Corinne of Sweet Sweets going to be a really good episode that you guys are going to want to hear. So I think that's all I got for you. Oh, listen to Dead Sarah and listen to Eminem's new album. So without further ado, here's episode number 57 of My Stuff. Enjoy, motherfuckers. All right. Let me get this done here. Put a volume stamp there. Put one here. Man, this thing is gonna. Hopefully this guy didn't pass away in. And I don't even want to finish that sentence. Like, hopefully somebody learns something about this fucking situation. Hopefully somebody learns that this is just not the thing to do in this situation. Why did that not copy? Copy. Paste. All right. That clock will be going live tomorrow night. I hope this guy didn't pass away in naught, I guess is what I was saying. I downloaded Eminem's new album last night, Kamikaze, and listened to it. I can't tell whether he... I wish that I didn't take so much time in the outro so that I could get this whole song in. I probably need to stretch this song out a little bit, don't I? I'll probably do that soon. Kamikaze, and listen to it. I can't tell whether he... Yeah, it's fine. I don't think the people will care. All right. I'm going to post this bitch. And then you guys might have a Sunset Grill coming at you soon. YouTube world. As you guys are getting to see what other people don't get to see. Before my phone dies, I'm going to get out of here. But all right. Thanks for watching. Love you. Mean it. Tell your friends. Share this. Share the YouTube channel. Get all your people to subscribe, please. Let's get this message out into the world that you could be a better person. Be a better you today. Love you. Mean it.